Hello, we are Ahles. I am Ian Ahles, guitar and vocals.
Will Towne, guitar and vocals.
Alix Bandiera, drums.
Monash, bass and flute.
First of all, thank you for welcoming us to your world of metal. We all love a world of metal. This particular adventure started back in the 20noughties with Alix and I playing in a band called Born from the Ashes, which dissolved around 2010. Much of what we recorded on our debut album came from demos that we had recorded towards the end of that particular band. Between then and now, I met these two very talented fellows at the Queensland Conservatorium of Music. Will and I were in the same year on a classical guitar course, and I think Monash was following up a year behind us. And I'd also played in some musical pits with him, which was where I actually discovered that he played the bass really well. And then I asked them all to record the stuff with me and do some shows, and we became a band, and that's the story. I had a fairly clear idea, yeah. I kind of thought of it as the merging of like the classical world in which I met these two and the overlapping metal world where Alix and I had worked together. And Will was always a metalhead. Monash a little less so, but he likes it. So that's kind of what I had in mind for the sound anyway.
I think it was Ian's compositions, and obviously I think I was a bit more used to it, knowing the stuff that we'd gone through in our degree playing, and our music tastes and everything. So when Ian presented the music to us, it started off quite well, because of like, oh, that sounds, from what Ian's shared of his musical taste and his experience in listening to him and Alix in Born from the Ashes. Yeah, it was pretty clear cut from the start that these were going to be the songs. I mean, apart from little changes made when actually jamming on it in a band sense, but no, pretty clear cut from the get-go that it was going to be this type of music. And I think that's why we all agreed, because we were all fans of it and said, yeah, let's go for it.
And one thing I'll add to that, because I played with both Alix for a long time and Will for a very long time as well, I felt really comfortable to join those kind of concepts up. And Monash is just very adaptable to begin with, so he has no issues whatsoever.
Thanks.
You're welcome. Music. That's the short answer. The slightly more elongated answer is that, I think in terms of rhythms, matching musical ideas and forming words later, generally. There was one part of something spiritual which I had written separate to the music, but generally that doesn't happen. So I think of vocal ideas as musical ideas, and then they expand into lyrical ideas. That's kind of how I think about it. Will here is writing some lyrics and music for our next release. I don't know if he thinks about it differently. He might like to say something.
Yeah, for me it's pretty much in the same camp as Ian, that the music always comes first, because what I think tends to grab people, and especially myself, first of all, is like a really cool riff or just a cool musical idea. And it's not to say that lyrics have never come first. I've actually been writing down quite a few things, and more just sort of like stream of consciousness, or a cool turn of phrase or something that you might go, oh, that could make an interesting topic at some point. But I think what's very important for me in terms of my writing is not just having the lyrics as just an add-on to the music. For me, they should work hand in hand. The turns of phrase, the vocabulary and everything should, in my opinion, match the aesthetic of the music. Even if it's a real big sort of contrast, I still think, does it overall work as a whole? kind of thing. So there have been certain songs that I just, have been writing for a while, but just haven't completed because there's just been no lyrical ideas that have really meshed. And I think once you get into writing lyrics just for the sake of writing lyrics, it's a bit of a missed opportunity. That's just those are my 2 cents on that. So, but yeah, I would agree. Short answer with Ian that the music 90% of the time comes first.
Yeah, and in talking to Ian early on when we were recording this, I think we were talking about how the music fit together, and he said the way he thought about the real, hopefully I'm remembering correctly, that the vocals are just another instrument that's part of the band, and everything has to fit together, and it sort of shows in how the songs come together, that it's just another track that is part of a whole.
You haven't misquoted me in any way.
Great.
Okay, this has also got to do with the combining of different worlds. I play a 7-course Renaissance lute, and the tuning of that lute matched up with the tuning that Amorphous had on the Elegy album, including the song Weeper on the Shore. And they used a 12-string acoustic guitar for their acoustic parts, and the lute is matched up pretty well with that, with doubled up strings. So that's where the idea came from, and really just kind of aimed for a very folky, rustic kind of version rather than the metal version. For example, I used 2 flutes instead of the synthesizer part, and some electric guitar parts as well. So that kind of combined to make something interesting. Monash actually had to correct me on one of my flute parts because I wrote it under the range. I have learned all of these things, and I just missed it. But thanks, Monash. Yeah, we've already been playing quite prolifically around Brisbane, which is our hometown. We have a couple more shows there in October, which includes the Brisbane leg of the Insane Awesome Sandwich Tour, which is at the Back Room and features Acrolysis and T-Rex Autopsy, who are launching their new albums, Mother Magnetic and Eat City. And then on October 25, we will be playing an all-ages show called The List of Seven, the Second Coming, which is run by Blackened Records, which is a specialist metal record store here in Brisbane. That one's got Slow Cut, Monsters Around Us, Fell Sun, Regular Gonzalez, Hiss, and Nemesis. So they're the 6 other bands we're playing with at the List of Seven. We're also keen to hit up other areas. We're in talks for a show in Sydney early next year, and hopefully coming to a town near you at some point, although overseas travel's probably not in the immediate future, unfortunately.